My name is Leonard Shelton. I served 20 years in the United States Marine Corps. I'm a combat veteran from the War of 90 and 91, and I was deployed to Kosovo in 2002 after September 11th happened. My first experience of death was on January 29th, 1990. And the first Americans to die in that war came from my unit. I stayed in the Marine Corps because I didn't know what else to do with my life, since I had experienced some different things prior to going into the military. I became a drill instructor to keep me busy, and after that I went back to the unit that I went to combat with, and I stayed with them because that seemed to be the closest thing to reality that I knew about, that I experienced. Then, so fast forward, I go to Kosovo in 2002 after September 11th happened. I'm in charge of 59 other Marines and a corpsman. Marines are left on the side of a mountain, and I'm having problems with my command. The command was this company commander, the battalion, the company commander, the platoon commander, and the company first sergeant. So my problem was I had a lot of anger issues that they didn't want to deal with. So I was fired from my job, sent back to the United States for a mental health evaluation. I get back to the States. I'm at West Point to see this doctor, and I learned that I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I didn't know anything about that. The closest I've heard of anything of mental health was probably schizophrenia or depression, but I never understood anything like that since I was 9 months shy of retiring from the Marine Corps at the time. I was arrested twice for aggressive behavior while I was still in the Marine Corps. Went to jail twice for it. Almost lost my retirement, but in fact I did get it with the help of Dennis Kucinich and the Marines that were in my leadership that decided to help me because they knew the problem that I was dealing with was no fault of my own. After I returned back to Cleveland, Ohio, which is where I was born and raised, I didn't know where to go. I was already working on my second divorce. What happened that made me return back from New Jersey, which is where the unit I was with prior to coming back to Ohio. They were having a presidential debate, Kerry and John Edwards. And at that time, the number, I believe, was around 800 that they were discussing about the deaths. And I just destroyed the place where I was living, and it cost me $800 worth of damage. So I have a history of having a loss of control of my temper. So I returned back to Ohio, and I went to the VA, the Veterans Administration Hospital. Prior to that, I went to the Vet Center. I was mixing alcohol with medications. The drug of choice was beer for me. After seeing a therapist at the Vet Center, she thought it would be a good idea if I went to the hospital to get treatment for my substance abuse and my post-traumatic stress disorder because I didn't want to accept it. And by the way, they were going to discharge me from the Marine Corps with 10% disability from post-traumatic stress disorder, chronic, and major depressive disorder. That's what they were going to do to me. So I get to the hospital at the VA hospital at Brecksville, Ohio. I fill out this 3-hour test that they had us doing. They had me doing. I don't know about us, but me. I'm quite sure they do it with others. I do the evaluation. I'm maybe 10 days out of the Marine Corps after 20 days of military service. I come in, I get a phone call to say that you're accepted for inpatient treatment for your substance abuse. And I look at the screen as I'm being processed through the system here that I was very afraid of because a lot of the veterans I saw in there were much older than I. And I felt that's what I was going to be part of this revolving door. And on there, the screen was my diagnosis, which was borderline personality disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, substance abuse disorder. Later on, I learned it was an eating disorder as well. So I was becoming very angry. 2005, I'm living with my parents because I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to treatment. The Marines from 3rd Battalion, 25th Marines out of Brecksville, Ohio, who were snipers, and along with others, were in it was separate incidences. They were killed, the snipers were killed, which makes no sense to me. To this day, it still doesn't, because snipers are taught to be evasive. And then the Marines that were killed in the Amtrak and the vehicles flipped over. So what happened is that I had what's called a flashback, but I have no recollection of what was going on. I just had a series of periods where I just had a certain type of behavior that wasn't acceptable to people, to include the VA hospital. And as a result of that, they decided to suspend me and ban me from treatment for 30 days. So after that happened to me, I lost faith in going into the hospital for any type of treatment at all. My retirement paycheck from the Marine Corps after 20 years of service is $207 a month. I haven't seen my children going on 5 years. I have minimum contact with my immediate family, brother, sister, mom, dad. I live alone. I live to see a better place, because when I look at you, I don't see you. I don't know. I want things and then I don't want. It's very difficult. But I'm telling you, because I'm not looking for anyone to feel sorry for me, because I know I'm not the only one. But it's painful. The stigma of having a label as I do, or it could be as me as well. I can take ownership in it, that some people just don't want to deal with certain things that go along with the pain that we deal with. But I will say this, what I have learned after having 12 different therapists within 5 years. Anger comes from pain. That's where it comes from. And I think that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.